I want to share with you how to master your manifestation superpowers. Right? And I'm very excited about this because one thing you may not know about me is that I've always been up for a little bit of woo-woo. Okay. Now, my definition of woo-woo has changed over the years, but I've always been curious about those things that, you just can't explain with everyday rational logic, so to speak. And I've always had decks of tarot cards and angel cards, for as long as I can remember. And even when I didn't really understand the true purpose or meaning behind these types of things. And I love the mystery. Right? I love the mystery and the magic and the sense that there are powers at play that defy the mainstream narrative of how the world works. And if I'm completely honest, when I was young, there were a few instances where I experienced things that I couldn't explain, and it did create a lot of fear in me. And now, throughout my journey, though, I have come to learn many things, and some of the courses I've attended have been quite esoteric in nature. And I've learned about ancient wisdoms of different cultures, frequency, vibration, the different elements, astrology, numerology, the use of energy, and how all this interacts in the quantum level, right, with the principles of quantum physics. And what I really truly believe is that we are all way more powerful than what we're conditioned to believe, and that we can in fact manifest our desires and outcomes in a way that works, in a way that's replicable, right? And not only can we do it, but in fact we're doing it on a daily basis, right? Whether we believe that we are, or we're aware that we are, or even if we're completely oblivious about it, we're doing it. Okay. And so the problem is when we're unaware of these powers that we have, or we're in denial of them, we open ourselves up to be influenced and to become manifestors of someone else's agenda. Right? And we see that happen all the time. I'm not getting into that right now. That's maybe a topic for another episode. But today, I am going to be talking to you about how to become a master manifester with a very pragmatic sort of approach, right? You can woo-woo it up as much as you enjoy in your own practice. I'm going to give you some really clear steps, right, of how to make it work for you. And then what you add on in any kind of idiosyncratic way for you is perfectly okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Right, now let me start by letting you know that I've been manifesting successfully for quite some time now. And the interesting thing about manifestation is that as you grow personally, so does your confidence in what you can manifest, right? And in fact, as you grow personally, you have access to a whole lot more energy for manifestation. Okay, because your energy, how much energy you have available to you, depends on what you're using it for, right? So if you've got a lot of old baggage in your unconscious mind, so a lot of old negative emotions, a lot of old limiting beliefs, a lot of internal conflicts, right? It takes up a lot of energy to manage that stuff, right? So this is why you need to do personal growth, right? To clear that stuff out. If you've got all this stuff going on, problems in your family, in your relationships, you're not treating your body well, all that stuff drains your energy. You need to clear that up, right? The more you clear that up, the more energy you'll have available for you, in which you can use to create what it is that you want. So let's go back a bit. Okay, so if we go back to 2010, I was working in a bank. And what you might know about working in a bank, originally I always wanted to work in a bank from when I was little, right? When I was little, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to work in a bank. Maybe because I wanted to count money, I'm not sure. But I managed to get myself a job in a bank, and I worked in a bank for about 10 years all up. But the thing about banking working, it's a sales role, essentially, right? So you work in a branch, it's a sales role. And I hated sales. I hated sales at that point in time. I didn't really understand sales. It made me feel yucky. I didn't really get it. And that's not what I signed up for. So I decided that I wanted to manifest myself a job where I could just sit in an office all day and I'd have my own desk and my own computer and my own phone, my own chair, my own set of drawers. And I had my own job to do, and that I could just sit there and do my job and had a window to look out of. Right? That's what I wanted. And that's exactly what I got. Okay. And at that point in time, I also like to drink a lot of wine. And so fabulously enough, this job that I created for myself also happened to be at the National Wine Centre. So so there was lots of wine available, right? So I used to get free wine and stuff, which was a pretty good gig. And that was great. And then in 2015, I decided that I wanted to own a BMW car. Okay, now at that time, it seemed impossible for me, right? I was a single mom. I was working in this part-time accounts role. None of my friends or family drove a BMW. It wasn't normal for me. But I wanted one because it just symbolized, like I've always had this car for, like this thing for cars, right? So I grew up, my dad was a panel beater, always had nice cars, like not BMWs, but like V8 cars and like, tough kind of blokey cars, right? And so I had this thing for, like, I like cars. I like how cars feel. I like fast cars. I like that kind of sporty sort of thing about cars. And so for me, BMW represented this kind of sexy, sporty luxury that I wanted to experience on a daily basis, right? That's what I wanted to experience on a daily basis. And so sure enough, within 6 months, I was driving my very own BMW. And I can tell you, it was quite the thing, right? At that time, I had people at my work who were like, some people were like, going, oh my God, you're my like hero. Other people were like, turning their nose up at me because it just pushed their boundaries too much. There was all kinds of things. But I had this BMW car and I loved it. And very much, got this car. And then a few years later, I put it out that I wanted to have a gardener, a cleaner, a PT, a chef, a beauty therapist, regular massages. And at that time, that seemed too far out of my reality, right? I couldn't understand how that would happen. And the thing is, though, all of these things have become true. They have become part of my reality. Well, except the chef, technically, because, well, the chef turned out my partner decided to take over cooking duties at that time. So I guess it was kind of like having a chef. That was good for me at that point in time. But then he became a FIFO worker and now he works away and he's got his own chef, which is nice. But it's really not a problem for me because now I find I don't have to cook dinner for everyone every night. It's not even a problem. I can cook for myself. I don't actually mind. So it's all good, right? Now, I've also created a 6-figure business for myself. Become an internationally accredited master trainer of NLP. I've done multiple 5-figure sales in a week, right? Even in a day. I've gone on high-end courses with people from across the globe for my own personal evolution. I've created friendships with incredible people from around the world. I spent Christmas on Hamilton Island without the rest of my family, just with my daughter. Taking my daughter on cruises. I completely recreated my relationship. I manifested TV appearances, radio gigs, a whole bunch more stuff. And there's more to come, right? But the key thing about all of these things is there was a point in time that I didn't know how that could be my reality, right? There was literally a time when I first started my business and my friend and I used to talk about, having 6 figures and, all this kind of stuff. I could not honestly see how that was ever possible for me. I'd never made that amount of money before. I don't think I'd ever made more than about 50 or 60 grand in a paid job. So I had no idea how I was going to make 100 grand in my business. It seemed ridiculous, right? There was a time when I couldn't see how I was going to become an internationally accredited master trainer. Okay, because I had a terrible fear of public speaking. I didn't see how it was possible for me that I would be teaching people, like groups of people, up to 80, 100 people from around the globe, both online and in person. I never saw how that was possible because that wasn't my reality, right? And so all of these things, even with Christmas on Hamilton Island, I had this, I didn't see how that was possible for me because in my reality, in my family, with my parents being separated and, whatever, I was kind of the person that held everything together. So I'm like, how could I possibly ever go away for Christmas? Because I'm the person who runs Christmas in my family. But I manifested this. I managed to not even just go and do what I wanted for Christmas, but I did it on a, really beautiful island. And so all of these things that I've manifested, that I've created in my life, at some point in time, I didn't think that they were possible for me, right? So this is what we think about when we're talking about manifestation, right? What does manifestation really mean? Well, it's creating a reality that you don't currently have. Okay, you don't currently have. And the only real difference between manifesting something big and manifesting something small is how far out of reality it seems for you. Okay, so for example, it comes to money, like you might be completely okay with finding a $20 note on the sidewalk and not, have no idea where it came from, but, there's no one around and it's yours, right? You can't possibly find who this is. It's 20 bucks there. Wow, I've manifested 20 bucks. You quite happily have it, right? But if it came to creating a 50K month in your business, for example, or a 10K month or a 100K month, wherever you're at, whatever seems like a stretch out of your reality, okay, if it's too far out of your reality, depending on where you are right now, you might have a lot more resistance because it isn't yet a match to what you truly think you can have, what you think you can, what you deserve, what like someone like you has in their reality, right? So you need to be an energetic match to what you want. And I'm going to explain that, what I mean by that, in a very simple way, right? But like, this is the thing, what you believe you deserve is 100% only that, what you believe. And you can change your beliefs, right? We do this in NLP all the time. A belief comes from conditioning, right? It comes from some point in time in your life where people were saying things, something happened, you're in some kind of conversation, you're listening into people and their thoughts and, your family, whatever, and you made a decision about what something means. And then from that point, you carry the belief. So we know with NLP and timeline therapy, you can go back and access that point in time in your mind where you have made that decision, and you can rejig it, you can review it, you can reframe it, you can shift it and realize that, that information that was available at that time you could decide it meant something else. And then you have a new decision, and then you have a new belief, right, that you operate through. Okay, so this is the thing. It's really important that we understand how we can use our mind and how our mind's creating our current reality with all our beliefs and our values, right? And our attitudes and our language, what we focus on, what we say to ourselves. That's all creating your reality. So you want to be able to shift that, right? So the first step is, when you're wanting to manifest something, you need to create a very clear representation of what it is that you want. Okay, and when I say clear, and even when I say representation is essentially how you hold it in your mind, right? So that's like the picture that you have in your mind about it, the things that you say to yourself about it, the feelings that you have about it, right? And when I say clear as well, it's that you could imagine it just as easily as you can imagine this very moment you're in right now. Okay, because we're in the forever now moment. So whatever you're manifesting, you bring it into the now moment. Okay, so you're in now, and you are like, time is traveling through you, and so you can imagine that it's just going to be like you now, and then you've got this thing that's coming to your reality, right? Whatever that is. Okay, so you've got to have this clear representation. And clear also means that you don't add any buts or ifs to it. Okay, so for example, if you're saying, well, I'd really love a new car, but I don't want to put a strain on my finances, right? And your belief is having a new car will put strain on your finances. Well, then that's not clear, right? That you don't want that. Okay, you want a new car that you can easily pay for, right? That you can have a car and have the money for everything else that you want in your life. Okay. Or if you're saying you'd really love to go on a holiday, right? You want to go on a holiday, but you can't take the time off. Maybe you want to go on like a 3-week holiday and you're like, yeah, but I can never take 3 weeks off. Well, how are you ever going to create that? You have to start imagining it, that there is a reality that you create where you can have 3 weeks off, because you're the projection point. This is really thing. This is the important thing to know, that you're the projection point of your reality. Okay, it's not, oh, but my job, this, none of that matters. Things can change. Anything can change. You have to first get this clear representation of what that is. Yes, I can take 3 weeks off. Yeah, everything, who knows what will happen, but I'll create a situation where I can have 3 weeks off and I'll go on this amazing holiday. Okay, or maybe you're saying to yourself, oh, I want to have this wonderful relationship, right? I want to have this wonderful relationship, but I'm afraid that, if I meet someone who I think is just amazing, that they'll leave me, right? Because they'll find out I'm not really good enough. Hey, that's not what you want. You want to manifest a relationship, right? You want to manifest a relationship where you get to be you and the person loves you exactly for who you are. That's what is a clear representation of what you want, right? And that you're the perfect person for them. And you've got this amazing, mutual understanding, appreciation, admiration, love, all of that thing, that they're like, oh my God, you're the perfect person for me. I know you all the way down to your core. You know me all the way down to my core, and we both love each other exactly how we are. We're a great match. That's what it is that you want to have. Okay, so this is what I mean. When you look at this clear representation, you've got to make sure that it's clear, that it's that you're fully congruent, that whatever it is you want to manifest can come in a way that it's fully okay with you. Okay, that it will work without conflicting with any of your beliefs about time or money or self-doubt. Right? So how quick it can come in will depend on how much you believe that you deserve it just for being you in this forever now moment. Okay, so if you believe how you are right now is deserving of whatever it is that you're manifesting, you'll get it quickly. Okay, if you believe that you have to have certain conditions in place, right, before you can have that, right, it will take as long as it takes for you to get those certain conditions in place. Okay, so right now you have in your life the things that you have manifested according to what you believe is possible and that you are deserving of. Okay, so what do you do if you don't believe you are deserving? Right? Because of course I want these things, but who am I to have all these amazing things? Well, this is where we need to do the inner work. Okay, we have to do the inner work. We have to let go of the limitations about your ability, your capacity, and your self-worth. Right? You need to decide that you are in fact here to experience whatever you choose from what you are aware of as a possibility. Okay, now, and this is really important because often I hear people go, oh, but Toni, I've done the work, I've done all this work on myself. Yeah, that's like saying I once did a 6-week challenge at the gym. So why aren't I now fit for the rest of my life? Doing the work means you continue clearing up layers of stuff. You might have done the work at some point, which got you to somewhere, but if you're not where you want to be now, there's more work to do, right? And it's a combination of, and this is the other thing, sometimes people get so caught up in doing the work, right? And that they're just going for session after session after session, but then they're not actually using their mind in a way that they need to use it. Okay, you've got to engage both your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. Okay, some people are all conscious mind, right? There's I'm saying these affirmations, I'm saying these affirmations, I'm setting my goals, but it's all like push and grind because they're not dealing with their unconscious mind and the resistance at the unconscious level, right? And then some people are so busy like going, oh, I've got to clear this every last bit of limiting decision, everything. I feel there's still some blocks, and they're just forever digging in the unconscious mind, but they're never engaging their conscious mind to just like guide them forward, right? They're just getting stuck in their feelings, and as soon as there's a bit of discomfort, it's like, oh my God, there's something else I'm going to work on. No, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you've just got to create a new pattern, right? You got to do the work and then take action. But you got to do the work on yourself and then guide yourself to like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. This is now what I'm doing, right? So you've got to do both. And then, of course, when you've got those two parts of your mind working together, then you can download properly from your higher conscious mind, right? You can get inspiration, you can get ideas, and this can all be part of what comes in for what you want to manifest, right? So very, very important that all these things come in. Okay, so once you decide that you are in fact here to experience what it is and that you are deserving because it's been made, you've had awareness of what it is that you want, right? And you decide, yes, I'm deserving, and you do the daily conditioning of yourself. Okay, so this could be shifting from, when you see something going, oh, I could never have that, to saying, yes, that's for me. Yes, I would love that, right? Like shifting that kind of self-talk every day. And then once you get that clear representation of what it is that you want, the next step is, of course, that you've got to act as if you're going to have it, right? Take action as if it's a given. So, for example, if it's a car that you want, right? So when I decided I wanted a BMW, I started test driving BMWs, right? I would go, and so I knew exactly what it was like to drive one, and I would go for big drives, right? I'd go for like, well, not big drives, half an hour drive. So I spent really a lot of time in that car. I'd take pictures of myself so I could see myself driving it, right? One of my friends sent me a BMW keyring, and I put it on the keyring of my existing car. So whenever I picked up my keys, I was like, oh yeah, I've got a BMW. Right. So I got into that space, and then very soon I found the exact right car. Right. It was in amazing condition. It was in the right price range for me, and I bought it. And I loved it so much that I'm still driving it 8 years later. And in fact, I think about upgrading my car, and I can't, like, I'm test driving all these cars because I can't find a car that I think I'm going to love more than my car that I bought 8 years later. Right. So now, this is the thing, right? Like, again, I want to remind you that how quick you manifest something will decide on how much you believe you are deserving of it right now. Right? How much you believe you're deserving of it right now. So you have to condition yourself on a daily basis that it's okay for you to have it. In fact, it's good for you to have it. Okay, so when you're imagining yourself with a car, or the money, the relationship, the clients, the business, the holiday, whatever it is, get a really clear image of yourself having it as you are now, right? Don't create some image of you, some future version of you. Like, it's you now. Okay, imagine yourself in the clothes that you have now, right? The environment that you are in now. Make sure you have a representation that you can have this manifestation as well in a way that's healthy, safe, secure, financially stable, and that you will have it and still be surrounded by and connected to people who love and support you, people who want the very best for you, people that are so happy for you to be receiving your manifestation. Right? You've got to speak of it as if it's a done deal. Right? Use your language in a way that has certainty that the manifestation is yours. Right? This is another reason why NLP is so important when it comes to manifestation or any of these things, is because you need to understand your language. Right? Your language is so powerful. And we think about manifestation, right? It's no coincidence that when we talk about words that we spell words, that we're spelling. Like your words are powerful. Your words are speaking into reality what you have. Okay, so you got to use your language. You got to understand how to use your language in a way. Okay, and you want to make the thought patterns of this manifestation being your reality so familiar to you that it won't be a surprise when you receive it. Right? You be telling yourself, like, I'm just blessed. It's like I just create things for myself all the time. I manifest what I want all the time. I'm really good at creating things. I'm getting quicker and quicker and quicker at bringing things into my reality. So condition yourself with daily self-talk that you are worthy and deserving, and that incredible things happen to you all the time. Okay, tell yourself that things always work out for you. Speak into reality what it is that you want. Right? If you have any challenging thoughts, flip them. Tell yourself the opposite. Right? So if you're wanting to bring in more money and you're constantly checking your bank account and worrying or trying to figure out how long, what you've got in the bank will last for you, flip it around and start telling yourself, I love how money is always flowing into my account. Right? I love being able to provide myself with everything that I want, everything that I need, and still have plenty left over. Right? Because it's the truth. And this is the thing, right? I want you to know that you to think about this, right? Even if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you've got a roof over your head, you've got internet connection, you've probably got a car, you've probably even got a business, you've got money coming into you in some way, right? You've always been able to pay your bills because, you've got services available to you now, which is a result of you having paid them in the past, right? You're eating, you always put food on the table. You're alive, right? And you've got clothes on. You've gone on holidays. Okay, so all of these things you've been able to provide for yourself, even if you've been doing it in a stressful way, right? So if you've been doing it in a stressful way, you can choose to do it with ease. You can choose to do it without the worry, right? Does the worry and the stress have to be a part of how you bring things into your life? No. It might be the way that you do it now, but it doesn't have to be. But you can choose to create even more for yourself than you have before and do it in a way that's fun and that you enjoy. Okay, so you can also, this is another important thing, manifest knowing that there is an infinite supply of all the things for everybody. Okay, there's no limit because we're creating our reality, right? You've got to know that you having what you want never stops other people from having what they want. Okay, there's no such thing as selfish. There's no such thing as you're taking all the things, right? People can all create their own things. They can do that. Right? Like currently for me, I'm manifesting new business and speaking opportunities. Right? There's things that are coming in all the time. And this came from a result of me freeing up some energy that I had tied up in another project that I was done with. There's a new program coming in, right? That I'm feeling called to deliver. I'm getting a new kitchen and lounge room in my home. Backed by another investment property. Right, so these are all part of a level up for me. So daily, I am conditioning myself to be the person who takes the actions that results in me having these things. Right, and I do it in a way that's fun. It's just like, yes, I'm doing this and it's fun and it's enjoying it and I'm loving having this experience. Right. Now, here's something else that I want to share with you. This part here that I'm going to share with you about manifestation is a twist on things that you might not have thought about this before, right? But it will help you bring your manifestations into your reality much more quickly and more easily. So here it is, right? Whatever it is you are manifesting, whether it be more clients, money, holidays, relationships, health, what I want you to do is think about the energy of what you're bringing in to your life Think about the energy of that as if it was a person, right? Now, what do I mean by this? Because it's like, oh, relationships might be a person. Yes, but if you can think about money as a person, right? You can think about your holiday as a person. You think about your house you want to live in as a person. You think about your business as a person, right? The energy of it. I want you to think about it as if they're a person, and not just any person, but a person that you love, right? How would you treat them? How will you treat them? Will you treat them with warmth and love and kindness, right? Or are you treating them with this kind of desperate, clingy energy that you're just like, oh my God, come here and save all my problems? That will push them away, right? Do you talk about them with pride, or do you deny their existence and or talk badly about them, right? Or talk about how they never come and see you enough. Oh my God, you never see me enough. You never hear enough. Why aren't you here supporting me, helping me? Oh my God, I've just are you just running guilt trips on them? Okay. Are you refusing to talk about them as if they don't even exist? You got like a situationship where it's just like, oh yeah, I want you to this manifestation just come into my life, but don't tell anyone. We're not going to. I don't want any of my friends or family to know about you. And if you can just park around the block when you come and visit, so no one can see that you've been to my house, right? If you're thinking about your manifestations, you're treating your manifestations like a person in any of that kind of way, how long do you think that they're going to want to stay with you? Even if they decide to come in, how long do you think they're going to want to stay? Right? They're not. So whatever it is, if it's money, if it's a relationship, if it's like holidays, if it's, homes, whatever it is that you want to manifest, whatever it is you want to bring into your life, right? Think about the energy of that thing as a person that you have a great relationship with, right? That they love being around you, you love being around them, you love introducing them to your friends and your family, you like taking selfies with them, right? Like you love them. You love that when they're around you, that they feel energized, they feel valued, they feel welcomed, they feel included, right? They feel loved. That they get this sense that when they're with you, that they feel accepted and that they belong. Okay, this is the kind of energy that you want to have about your manifestations. Right? Think about them as this person that you just love, and they've got freedom to come and go because you're not desperate, right? But they choose to want to be with you because of how well you treat them, because of how you make them feel. Okay, that you have the best time together, that you really value them and you treat them really well, and then they do the same for you. Right? That they do the same for you. So you've got this kind of bestie relationship happening with your manifestations. Right? So this is the thing that I want you to do today, right? Be the person that your manifestation wants to be around and see how quickly it comes in. And I have a question for you as we wrap up is what I'd like you to do, well, it's a bit of a task, right? What I'd like you to do is take some time today to recognize all of the things that you've manifested before. Right? And sometimes you'd be like, oh, well, I don't know what I've manifested. So the best way to do this is to look back over your life, right? And note, what do you have now that at one time in your life, you didn't think was possible for you? Okay. And once you recognize how much of this you've done, right, you'll know it's inevitable that you can manifest in more. Okay. That you know that there's going to be a moment in time, doesn't matter how quick or far it's going to be happening, where you're going to be looking back at this moment going, wow, look what I manifested in. Right. So I'd love to know. Tell me the things. I want to hear about the things that what shifted for you, what you've brought in. Send me an email, write a comment. I'd love to know. Share the love. We're all here. We're in the same morphic field. We're all manifestors. We're all master manifestors. Bring in the love. Happy days.